Welcome to the Parenting Tips Podcast. I'm Jeff Ryland. Imagine you and your young preschool child on an outing to the playground. You're having a great time with your young child, but now it's time to leave. Your child isn't ready to go. They throw a fit, screaming and crying, flailing their arms at you as you carry them to the car. You may feel embarrassed. You may wonder what other parents are thinking. What you may not realize is this is a fairly normal behavior for toddlers, and most other parents are probably secretly thankful that it was not their child this time. Afterwards, you might feel frustrated. You may think, maybe I should have given my child more of a warning that we were wrapping up our play at the park, or maybe I should have made it a game to get back to the car, or maybe I should have had a surprise treat back in the car, or maybe we stayed at the park too long and my child was just too tired or hungry. If these kinds of thoughts have gone through your mind, you're not alone. And while there are many, possibly dozens of ways for a parent to handle this situation differently, some of them may work, but none of them is the sure thing because parents can't control all elements of the situation. When a child becomes dysregulated, all bets are off. If this type of situation or behavior has ever happened to you, or if it happens more than you'd like it to, please listen on. In this episode, the third in a series on helping children to regulate their emotions, we'll walk through what is happening in a child's brain when they become dysregulated and what you as a parent can do to minimize both the frequency and the fallout from these moments. Children becoming dysregulated can be normal. Step back for a moment and consider your own experiences. Have you ever looked back on a day and wondered why you were so irritable or so upset, only to realize that maybe it was because you were overtired, exhausted, overwhelmed, hungry, or several of these combined? None of us is at our best when we're tired, preoccupied, or overburdened. And it's much the same for children. A major difference is that they don't have the skills to recognize this. They also don't have the skills to prevent it from occurring. Wouldn't it be wonderful if our preschooler could say something like, "Mom, I know I'm a little tired and hungry, and it's been a long day for me. I didn't take a nap at school. I bet you're tired also. So is it okay with you if I go sit over on the couch and take some deep breaths instead of throwing a tantrum because I can't have a snack before dinner?" Right. I hope you're laughing at the absurdity of a young child saying something this diplomatic. As I mentioned earlier, some of these moments are normal. Here are some more examples. Feeling that someone is criticizing them, feeling misunderstood or misunderstanding others, demands not being immediately met, changes in routine, frustration at being unable to do a task, hunger, or exhaustion. Kids can have these moments when they feel as if someone is making fun of them or putting them down because they've not yet learned about motives and are still learning how to see other points of view. They can feel misunderstood and easily misunderstand what others want or need from them. They can be upset when what they want is not delivered immediately. Waiting may not be a strength yet. They may become upset if there's a change in the routine or something they really expected to happen just doesn't happen. They can become frustrated when they try to make or build something and it turns out to be more challenging than they thought it would be. They can become dysregulated when they hear the word no and drop into a full-blown tantrum. And finally, they're not at their best when they're tired, hungry, or overwhelmed. So how can you tell how much dysregulation is normal and when you should be concerned? The short answer is that it depends on a number of factors. Yes, it is not uncommon for kids to have meltdowns over the simple word no, but only initially. It is normal for kids to express disappointment at not getting their way. It becomes a problem if this happens multiple times each day across many months or years, and parents begin to dread having to say no, and they avoid saying the word altogether. If this is a situation you find yourself in, you may want to check out episode 29, Saying No, for tips on how to reduce the use of this word and still not give in. It is common for kids to get frustrated when they're trying something and they just can't quite make it work. They may have a fit about it, but usually they move through this in a period of weeks or months and with practice learn to master the task they were working on. It becomes a problem if most every new challenge is met with, "I can't, I don't know how," refusal to even try, and an escalation to a tantrum when it becomes difficult. It can be frustrating to see a pattern like this for parents and for them to witness their child quickly getting frustrated and giving up. It may be that they're afraid to fail. Check out episode 71 when your child says, I can't or I don't know how, or episode 72, how to build self-confidence in children, for more tools on this topic. While it is normal for children to eagerly anticipate an event such as their birthday or a family or school outing, it would be a problem if they became obsessive about it, constantly checking and asking about the event, worrying that it may not turn out, and then having a meltdown if even one part of the activity didn't turn out. It's normal for kids to be a little cautious if they've had a rough first experience with something like sledding. Maybe they got snow sprayed in their face. In normal situations, they might cautiously go down the hill and quickly forget about that first experience because they're having so much fun now. It's a problem when a child refuses to ever go sledding again or screams and cries when you try to take them. You can imagine a similar response to learning to ride a bike without training wheels. If a young child has a small fall as they are learning to ride, it would be normal to get up and keep trying until they master it. It's concerning if years go by and the child has staunchly resisted getting on a bike for fear of falling again. Dr. Dan Siegel, an internationally respected psychiatrist specializing in children, developed an easy way to help us understand and explain to children how their brains work and what happens when we or they become dysregulated. I'll give a very brief several-minute overview, but I think it may be helpful to go directly to the source. Thankfully, Dr. Siegel has many YouTube videos that explain this model. Just Google hand model of the brain and you will find it. Dr. Siegel describes 3 basic parts of our brain that have to function together for us to stay regulated. If you were to make a fist and examine it, you would see a rough approximation of what our brain looks like in our heads. The wrist is the spinal column leading to the rest of the body. Just above the spinal column is the brainstem, which is responsible for breathing, heart rate, and other automatic functions. When our thumb is tucked under our fingers, the thumb and the area just beneath it are the limbic region. This region is responsible for our emotions. And finally, the fingers that cover the top of our fist represent the cortex, with the most frontal part, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for our thinking and decision-making. All of these parts of the brain have to work together. When any of us become overwhelmed or upset, we tend to become more disintegrated or dysregulated. All children experience dysregulation, some children more often than others. If you've ever tried to use logic or words to reason with a child who's dysregulated, you can appreciate how difficult that is. This is because at that very moment, their brain is not working efficiently. The top part, the part of the brain responsible for thinking and problem solving and reasoning, is offline. It's like blowing a fuse at home. Let's say that you have too many things plugged into one circuit and the circuit breaker and the panel flips. You can flip that appliance or light fixture switch all you want, but the power won't come back on until the circuit's reset. Kids are similar in this way. Their ability to reason and think through a problem will return once they have calmed down. The key in parenting children is to recognize that their circuit is getting overloaded and to help them to stay calm before they blow their fuse. This sounds easier than it actually is, since kids don't always tell you that they're tired, hungry, or disappointed from something that happened earlier at school until they have a meltdown. There are many reasons why some children become dysregulated more often than other children. It's not straightforward and simple since there are so many variables. The first thing that can influence a child's ability to regulate their emotions is their temperament. All children are born with a temperament. One of the great challenges for parents is that no 2 children are alike. In fact, a child's temperament is formed before they're even born. Beginning in the 1950s, Dr. Alexander Thomas and Dr. Stella Chess studied children across time, and they were able to identify 9 different factors or characteristics that seem to influence a child's temperament. These characteristics are discussed in episode 77, Understanding Children's Temperament. After decades of research, these 2 pioneers identified that children fall into 3 basic camps. The first camp is easygoing children. The second camp are slow to warm up or hesitant children. And the third camp are challenging children. To learn more about temperament and why it's important to know about your child or children's temperament, it's wise for parents to be able to parent to their child's unique temperament. Again, episode 77, Understanding and Responding to Your Child's Temperament, can get you started. Environment is another factor that can affect emotional regulation. The home environment is a start, but it also includes the community, the neighborhood, daycare, and school environments. Environments that are safe, provide structure, predictability, and routine can help children to self-regulate. Environments that are chaotic, unpredictable, or excessively noisy can make it difficult for children to stay calm and be regulated. We have discussed modeling emotions in a number of previous episodes of the Parenting Tips podcast, but it bears repeating. Children learn from their parents. If parents become dysregulated, begin yelling or shouting, it doesn't help the child learn what to do. Staying calm is one of the most powerful tools that parents can have in their parenting toolbox. Another factor is your child's neurodevelopment. This factor is a difficult one to address because it's so broad. While all children can become dysregulated, children who suffer neurodevelopmental challenges may struggle more. There are a number of neurodevelopmental challenges that may make it difficult for children to stay calm and be well regulated with their emotions. For example, children who have autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, or sensory disorders may have a more difficult time processing the social and emotional information that they're overwhelmed with. This may lead to more frequent moments of feeling dysregulated. There are also physiological factors. When children are tired, hungry, overheated, or uncomfortable, they are more likely to struggle with managing their emotions. Sleep can play a huge role in helping children to stay regulated. Have you ever noticed your child falls apart more readily if they're tired? Kids may struggle more if they didn't get a good night's sleep or near the end of the day when they're running out of gas. Similarly, children may become more irritable when they're hungry. They may not be able to identify that they're tired or hungry. This is why it may be helpful for you as a parent to keep track of when these dysregulation moments occur. Is there a pattern? Is it during transitions? Is it when your child is tired or hungry? Is it related to your child feeling physically uncomfortable? Please check out episode 7 on keeping track of problem behaviors to get some ideas for how to track this. Finally, excessive recreational screen exposure can contribute to children becoming emotionally dysregulated more often. Many parents report that their children tend to have their greatest moments of dysregulation when their children have been on their screen devices for too long and have to get off, or they're unable to get on when they want to. If you have concerns about this being a partial explanation for why your child may become dysregulated, you might want to check out episodes 16 through 20 on regulating screen time in children and families. So why is it important that kids learn to self-regulate with their emotions? We've been talking about the reasons children become dysregulated. We know that at some level, dysregulation is normal some of the time. As children develop more social and emotional skills, they become dysregulated less often. This is a good thing. And there are quite a few benefits for kids to learn to manage their emotions. The first benefit of being able to regulate big emotions is that children can become more independent. As their world expands, they begin to explore it, playing independently by themselves for brief periods of time, and this is critical for healthy development. If a child cannot regulate their emotions and becomes quickly frustrated, bored, anxious, or mad, it becomes necessary for parents to be present and help them regulate. While co-regulation discussed in episode 47 is a necessary part of child development and the parent-child relationship, it takes less intensive involvement as children age. We want our children to be okay and play by themselves and to not need to cling or to have an adult present at all times. Another benefit for children learning to regulate their big emotions is that they'll become more comfortable with experiencing and expressing them. Emotions are neither good or bad. They just are. It is normal to experience sadness when a friend moves away. It's normal to experience worry if the power goes out in a severe storm. It's normal to be mad when something doesn't go the way we expected it to go. However, these negative valence emotions are not favorites among any of us. Yet we need these emotions because they're a necessary part of all of us. Remember the storyline in Inside Out Part 1? The character of the emotion sad gets kicked out by the other emotions because she's essentially a wet blanket, and then joy has to go out and rescue her after discovering that she is needed after all. We all need sad and mad in our lives sometimes, just in small doses and not all the time. In a similar way, children tend to avoid these negative emotions because they can be unpleasant and they've not yet mastered them. When children can process and express these big emotions with greater mastery, they also tend to have better attention spans. They're able to focus, concentrate, and stay on task. When children regulate their emotions more effectively, they have improved social relationships within their family and their friendships. When kids are melting down at home or in the community, it can get in the way of being able to build important relationships with peers. Finally, children who can regulate their own emotions are more likely to develop greater empathy towards others. Check out episode 53 on helping children build empathy for more information. In this episode, we've discussed what emotional dysregulation is. Some level of dysregulation is normal as children grow. As a general rule, children become dysregulated less often as they acquire more skills for regulating their emotions. Dysregulation occurs when children are unable to process their emotions. Dr. Siegel's hand model of the brain helps demonstrate how and why this occurs. There are many factors that can affect a child's ability to regulate their emotions, including temperament, environment, neurodevelopment, parent modeling, physiological factors, and even screen time. This gives parents more knowledge and many opportunities to help children to regulate their emotions. Regulating emotions is important for children because it can help them to become more independent, help them to become more comfortable with more difficult emotions like anger, worry, and sadness. It can increase their attention span, and it can improve their social relationships. Consider your ability to regulate your emotions. Do you fly off the handle often? Is it easy to feel overwhelmed? Please check out episode 9 for parents on taking care of yourself. Parent self-care is crucial in being able to help our children. In the next episode, we'll explore specific tools parents can use to help build their child's capacity for being able to regulate their emotions. The ability to regulate emotions does not occur overnight. It takes time and many opportunities for practice and conversation. Doing this in an engaging way is crucial for children to be able to learn how to effectively manage their own emotions. Thank you for tuning in and considering this parenting topic. I hope this information added to your growing toolbox for parenting your child or children. Please consider exploring other topics in this series. Remember, no one parenting tool can do everything. We need many tools to become the best parents for our children. Your children's future depends on you and the time and effort you invest in them today.